Hello there, and welcome to my little arty corner on YouTube. It's Wednesday, it's the 2nd of March, and oh gosh, is it wet and grey again here in the valleys of South Wales. It's actually 2:15 in the afternoon. It's Wednesday, so Wednesday involves organic food delivery, which I never know what time it's going to come and these days, so it didn't arrive till well after 11 o'clock this morning, so I could have had a couple more hours sleep because I had a very poor night's sleep. Then I was expecting an Amazon delivery because my printer and scanner are playing up, or my scanner is, so I thought, right, we'll try connecting by USB. Oh, it doesn't want to do that. It's supposed to, but I can't figure it out, but I will when I got a fresh head. Something will come to me and it will go, oh yeah, that's how I do it. I hate wrangling with scanners, especially as I need them so much for my work. So it may mean that I'm going to have to go, right, that's it. I'm going to buy a separate scanner that I can plug in. It's dedicated for that purpose and nothing else, which I'm known to do, things like that. And then suddenly the printer will work again. And then I had a delivery of goodies from Cult Pens, one of which you can see here. I've bought this A5 sketchbook. It's a Hahnemuhle. Show you here because I don't think I've got that on. And it is a sketch and draft sketchbook. It says it's for pencil and charcoal, but you know, hey ho. You really don't think I'm going to use pencil and charcoal, do you? But yeah, I like disc-bound books, but I also like sketchbooks because they have their own uses. So it depends what I'm working on. So I've already taken, this was supposed to be the last page, but I realised I had the book back to front, which isn't a problem really. But to try pens out. So alcohol marker I actually used on this side because I thought it was the last page. But the alcohol markers bleed through, so no alcohol marker colouring in this unless I don't want to use the back side of the page. And I've just tried some pen testing and they actually, you can see a little bit of shadowing. Well, I can, but you can't there, so that's great. That page is going to be left for whatever. I've added to my Copic multiliner SP collection. So I've got a 0.1 and a 0.05, which are incredibly fine. No good for this paper because this paper has a fair bit of tooth. And I'm debating whether I'm actually going to use my fine liner on it because, you know, fair bit of tooth wrecks the nibs. So I've got no idea what I'm going to draw. I had thought of doing something, you know, I don't know, sort of fragmenty, zentangle-y, but let's just have a look while I try this sketchbook out. And the lovely thing is I can move it any which way I like to draw on it, so I'm going to go this way. First job, let's put a border on here, and I am just going to draw it in by hand in pencil so I can remove it. I was drawing something yesterday and I just didn't get I didn't put the lines in, and I got really frustrated because even if I don't fill the space, it's nice to have that edge that I like to work within. So I don't know, I'm a bit strange, I know. So I don't know what I'm going to draw. Let's just see what comes out of the pen. Sometimes I just don't know what to draw, and that's literally what I do. I sit down with pen and paper and I just go, right, let's see what happens, because what's the worst that's going to happen? This page will have something on it that I may not particularly like now, but I may come back and I may have ideas from it. So I'm going to start here and see what happens. So this is the 0.35. Now I've got no idea how much these compare, sizes of different brands compare one to another, to be honest. And I'm not really too worried because they are what they are. In theory, they should be similar. But in practice, I'm not so sure. It's the line that's left, I'm sure, is something to do with the way that the pen is. The nib is crafted, perhaps, and of course it's everything to do with how heavy-handed you are and how worn down the tip is and everything like that. And I'm well known for being heavy-handed with pens. It's off white paper, it's creamy in colour, which is fine. If I decide to scan the page in, it's not a problem because I can alter the colours digitally. But I thought it'd be quite nice to use for, fragment and tangle explorations. I was thinking of doing one here, but just didn't feel right. And I just did want to do something. This paper's okay for drawing on. I can feel the point of this pen snagging. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change pens. Oh, I'll put that away. Keep that for smooth paper. I've got a nearly totally wrecked 05 here. And that should give me, if I'm not too heavy-handed, a similar kind of line. But it's useful then for adding weight to lines to play with dimension and layers, I suppose. So put that here. And this will also be a good test of how much, sort of like adding plenty of ink here, will go through the paper. I'll have a look in a moment. It does seem to feather a little bit, but again, I actually quite like it. It's if the paper isn't as precise as my drawing, then perhaps it will encourage me to be happy with it being a little bit less precise. So we've got something strange going on here. This always happens when I decide I just want to draw. I never know what's going to appear and I just let it grow as it needs to. Just seeing what happens. It's a bit of fun. And sometimes something really lovely happens and sometimes something not so lovely happens. We shall see. This pen is quite a bit thicker than the 03, so I'm going to go over my 03 lines a little bit and just get them more or less the same thickness, or thicker where I want them to appear further away or in shadow. So how are you all doing? It's still a strange old world, isn't it, in so many ways. When I say strange, always seems to be something happening that can cause some kind, some level of stress and worry and concern. But art is a great way, or being creative is a great way to take a break from everything that is out of our control. This is me saying, I haven't got a clue what I'm going to create, I'm just going to sit and let it fall out my pen. Well, there is some control there, kind of. I've got control over how my pen moves and what shapes it makes, but what's going to be created, I have absolutely no idea at all. I'm working from, what appears to be one side to the other, but it could be top to bottom, because I've just realised I've got some strange kind of structure building up here. So I think I'll go with that and see what happens if I intentionally start to create some stuff, perhaps. create some stuff. Now this is going to be interesting what I can use to add colour and shadow to this. I was hoping it'd take alcohol inks. I obviously did not read the description of the sketchbook properly. It's fine though. They weren't that expensive, to be honest. These are about the same price each. They're not much more expensive than the Arteza notebooks, and this is why I got these, because I was getting so frustrated with things showing through on the Arteza paper. The notebooks are notebooks rather than sketchbooks, but I thought I'll have a go. Perhaps they're a bit like terms or the other dot grid journal books. They're not. The paper really does show the ink through, and it doesn't take other things you'd expect. Like, I know I can use distress inks in like terms. I've done it in the past. But you have to try and see. And, well, hey-ho. I found out and I saw, so I've bought these. Now, these I won't be able to use alcohol markers in, but then neither could I in the Artezas or many others. Or rather, I can't, well, I say I could use them, but I think it bleeds really badly as well. I think I saw this spreading quite a lot as I was adding it. So not the best paper for that. So I don't know. Maybe I'll use coloured pencils or coloured charcoal. Because I have those pencils here. They're very soft, they're very muted, so it might be the perfect, opportunity to make use of them. Sometimes I do wonder if that's the reason why I buy things that would suit them best, is to make me use them and get used to them. I don't know. I really don't. Today, I don't know very much. I really want to curl up and sleep, but if I do that, I know that tonight will not be a wonderful night for sleeping. So I've got something here, haven't I? We have something going on, for sure. So, putting quite sharp corners in some places, and that is not like me. And much more, let's round everything off, kind of. Even straight lines need to look a bit, wobbly wonky. This one is really wobbly wonky. It's sticking at an angle, but that's fine. I can live with that. So I may be able to, we'll see what happens. Let's put a couple of lines here, I think. And that's ended up looking like it's been braided, hasn't it? I'll live with that. I'm going to colour that in black. And there, I think I will. There, I can do that. I do need a finer pen, but I'm not going to wreck the new Copics. So let's have a look at this and see if I can get a really fine point. A Tombow Fudenasuki with a light hand, hopefully. I don't want to do that one, I'll do the next one down. And this one. Perhaps I'll cover up that line there that I put in and keep these like this. It's very strange shapes, very strange things happening here. Add black to those. Has some variety. I think I'll do the same on this side. There we go. So that's a bit different. I'm going to add a very fine line there, just to split that up. This needs something here. shapes with kinds of slits in. They seem to appeal to me when I'm just drawing randomly, which is essentially what I'm doing here. There's something about leaving these shapes and putting that little curve on the end that just pleases my sensibilities. So like that. Some squarish shapes in. This one, I think I want to put a shape like that in there. This one could do with some other circles in here, but I think I'm going to put some areas in dark shadow as if these are very prominent. They're not perfect shaped circles, and I'm not worried about that. And I fill the back of them in. If they're really awful looking, I can always adjust them, or I can just fill this area in black and use a white pen to add some pattern on the top of it. But I think I quite like it as it is. That just needs a bit of a tidy up there. It's been a really strange couple of days for me. Strange as in, I wouldn't have considered them strange before the pandemic hit, but it really does feel strange now, but in a good way, I think. But all will be fine. It all works out well in the end, I'm sure. Pop that there. So getting some really strange shapes. This really is turning into some weird building. I don't think anybody would ever award me anything to do with architecture. That's for sure. Though I do like some types of architecture very much. I've talked about that previously, but if you're new to this, and if you are most welcome. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you're enjoying this video, please give a thumbs up. I appreciate it all very, very much. I have no idea how much. So I'm not very good at expressing such things, but I particularly have a fondness for Romanesque architecture, which in Britain arrived here just after the Norman Conquest in 1066. And there's just something I don't know. If you like something, how can you tell somebody why you like it? What is it? I like the curved arches. I like the geometrical patterns that embellish them. I like the honesty and of the sculpture that's there. Faces are quite stylized, which is something I do and I like. And there's just honesty, and this is the best I can do. And there's just something so wonderful about it. Don't get me wrong, I can appreciate the artistry in, say, Gothic architecture, but it just gets a little bit fussy in some ways. It's beautiful, but it's just that little bit on the fussy side for me to really, well, I get excited about it, but I get more excited about Romanesque, it has to be said. And sort of like elements of that creep into work that I do. Not here other than the curvy arches and so on, but it's always there, and it has a tendency to creep out when I least expect it. I really don't like this section here, one little bit. So if I get my Tombow, I can most probably get broader lines to fill this in just that bit quicker. And I'm going to leave, I'll actually leave these triangles on, no, I was going to leave the triangles on that side, but I managed to fill one in through not thinking about what I was going to do. But I am just going to fill this all in with black because I can. I wasn't happy with it, so it disappears. And then I've now got this lovely big black area to do something different with. So that's okay. Actually balances this one down here, which will need some little spots of white, but I can get to that later. So the little triangular patterns there, very Romanesque-y. And it's not exclusive to Romanesque architecture. And I think this is why I love these double lined edges, you know, this narrow band whenever I draw some kind of arc or something else. And I think I picked that up a lot from Romanesque architecture because they use that to separate one order of arch from the next. You know, one layer of arch, one layer of pattern from the next. And it's just gives some breathing space there. And I like that, especially as I tend to fill my page. I don't leave a lot of white space, do I? There we are. Some Romanesque architecture, or Romanesque inspired patterns there in something that looks very futuristic and sort of like sci-fi, I suppose. I think I might do one. The only problem with these books is, what do you do with the cover? Oh, you fold it up against yourself. So let's do a different kind of thing on the other side. So we'll have two arches, like so. This little space here I'll fill with something different perhaps, but these two. I don't want to repeat that pattern, so I will use triangles, but what I'm going to do is crisscross them, hopefully. Not very evenly, but it'll do. And pop squares within, or half squares, as in triangles. Like that. That's quite a common kind of one. You often get the joins because they're done in sort of like bricks that go together. So you'd have a split here and here, and you can see what the fragment of the pattern is. You are Zentangle speak creaking in. Yes, creaking today. That's what I'm doing. This one, I think we'll use those again, but I'm going to use a pencil because I want to pop a kind of grid in for me to follow here, and I'm going to do that with this lovely pencil. Yeah, this is one of my goodies. I actually bought one of each colour they do. They're OHTO, and they're called No-Knock, N-O-N-O-K pencils. So you don't have to press the lead down. When it gets to the little plastic end, it's supposed to feed itself through. So that may stop me from, well, I'm going to try it and hopefully it'll work for me, because I'm not well known for... It irritates me when you have to stop because you've just suddenly run out of lead when you're drawing. It's not lead, it's graphite. But they're called pencil leads. It has something to do going back to the Romans, where they used to use styluses made of lead to write on slates, and the lead then could be erased and the slates or piece of stone could be reused. But lead isn't a good idea to use for such things. It really isn't. Because it's poisonous. The Romans basically invented plumbing in the way we know it, because they did create and use lead pipes. I've got a book, I think I've still got it somewhere. It's called What the Romans Did for Us, about the difference they made to society in Britain, because we were part of the Roman Empire for nearly 400 years. 400 years? Yeah, just about that. So 1st century to 4th century, yeah, something like that, 300-400 years. And they did quite a lot, including plumbing and the concept of central heating with the hypercoarse floors and so on. So this is a pattern that you wouldn't necessarily see as I've drawn it in Romanesque architecture, but I've gone with it and with the pattern. It's a bit lopsided in the end, but I'm fine with that. So I shall go and dig out my charcoal pencils and some pencils and see what I can do with this. Let's have a look. I'll be back in a moment. Okay. There we are, returned look, dreaded paper stump. I've got a Derwent tinted charcoal pencil here, and this one is natural, so it's just going to be charcoal, and I'm going to use this to add my shadow and highlight to some of this. So just applying it as I would a graphite pencil, but charcoal will smudge quite a bit further. Ooh. Why is this green? Could it be? Oh, it could be that I've got green on the bottom, the end of this, because I haven't cleaned it. That's okay, I can live with that. And of course with charcoal, if you don't like it, or it goes where you don't want it, you can erase it. So a kneadable eraser, or any eraser is good, but I like a kneadable one. And I just want to have a little bit there, need that highlight there. So it's natural. I've got one here that's called Green Moss and Forest Pine. They are tinted, some of them, so I'll be using some of the more tinted ones, I'm sure, in a moment. But I suspect that's because this was used with some chalk. Oh yeah, I did the other day, didn't I? When I made, yeah, weekends. So that is all one colour, so I'm just going to use this just to add some highlights there. It does get pushed into the fibres of the paper, which is quite nice, but it'll be fine. So let's have a look. I didn't exactly love these when I got them. I thought it sounded like a really good idea. I think I was hoping I'd use them instead of the chalk pastels. And yeah, as I'm using them now, they remind me of that in some ways, except they're charcoal, not chalk. And I tell you what I do need to do. I did put some pencil there, so before I start doing anything else, let's erase that. Not that I'm planning on adding anything there. I'm going to make this and this one quite dark in the centre there. Those bits. And then Have a look at putting some shadow along these areas in here. I do get through a lot of art materials in a year. Pens, oh my goodness, can I get through pens? Absolutely I can, hugely. And I'm looking here where things overlap, or where the furthest away bits of each shape would be, and where there would be some highlights. So towards the top and right I'd have highlights, but towards each side I'd also have shadow. So the shadow on each side, and perhaps just a little bit of shadow if I can run it along the bottom. Like here there would be quite a bit of shadow because this is behind these here. If I go over, I can just clean it up a little bit and clean my hand up as well as I go. Okay, let's have a look at some of these. Yeah, there's some perks in here. How did they sneak in? Until I looked now, I hadn't realised I'd popped these in here. It's crazy, isn't it? Shows that when I draw like this, I really don't pay a lot of attention to what I do. I kind of do, but I kind of don't. So sometimes things will just appear as if by magic. Okay, let's change to a different colour. I've got one here that's called Thistle. So let's see what Thistle is like. It should be a purpley colour. So I've got no idea how they managed to tint the charcoal. They must have added some coloured pigments to it. Still getting green coming off this a little bit, but I think the colour shift is quite subtle with these. Which suits me in some ways for this. And of course this will be combining with the cream of the background as well. I'll leave those as they are for now, because I'll come back and use a different colour there, I think. Some more. This works into the paper a lot more than, say, graphite would do, and graphite's a lot easier to erase once you've done that. But a little bit of charcoal goes a lot further than graphite does. So just saying. So there is a difference in tone. If you see where the grey is particularly prominent, you can tell that. Put some here. Just gently ease it out a little bit. Perhaps using too big a paper stump here today. And it's perfectly okay to use erasers. They're a very, very valuable tool if you work with graphite or charcoal, because it can get everywhere. I should really have a piece of paper under my hand or kitchen towel or some such. Stop me smudging it and getting my hand really mucky. That's why I don't generally like working with chalk and charcoal. I've got a drawing in my bathroom. It's huge, of a trilobite, one of a fossil, and I did that in chalk and graphite, chalk and charcoal, and the charcoal is the contrast between the chalk and the charcoal is so great. I used used a coloured paper as a background. I can't remember what colour it is now. I think it's just grey. And so you get the mid-tone from the paper, and then the highlight from the chalk, and the shadows from the graphite. And it's still hanging there many years after I did it. I like the end result, but I really did not enjoy getting messy in the process. This is burnt orange, so this is really quite, you can see the colour in this one, because it is really quite well coloured. Now on this end I have got red, so it may come out as a bit red as I blend it out, but the other end is purple, and purple and orange don't really make a pretty colour together. But that's quite nice, it adds a nice contrast here. I'll add some orange here. Orange is one of the split complementary colours for purples. Yellow is the complementary colour, so on one side you'll have yellowy green, and on the other side you'll have orangey yellows. So, and complementary colours make each other quite vibrant when you put them next door to each other. So I'm not doing that here, I'm using the colour as if I were colouring coloured pencils, but I thought I'd use this today because I don't often use these pencils. In fact, some of them haven't been used at all yet. They do work really nicely. I'll tell you what I have, I'm sure somewhere in here. I'm sure. Got that, but how can I find? Oh, can't see the one I'm looking. Oh, there it is, I think. I've got the General's charcoal white. This is the one that is so beloved by Zentangle practitioners, or Zentangle themselves. I thought I had to see why they like it so much. It's quite interesting. With this, you need to be careful you don't pop it over your black pen, just like what I did, because then you get the pen disappears, and I don't like drawing over the top of charcoal or graphite. So I'm just, the noises you are hearing isn't me. It's me sharpening this chalk pencil. Or graphite, oh, charcoal. It's charcoal pencil, isn't it? Not chalk. Tons of orange in there, but I'm okay with that one. The colours are showing up. Okay. So look at this one. This one is a sunset pink. Not convinced it's going to be a pink of sunset, but it's a pinkish colour. So let's just that one blends in and blend it out. That actually is, it's soft pink. It's more of a salmony, I think. But yeah, colour perception is a very personal kind of thing. I think I will pop some in this section. Let's see how we can spread that one out. So, surprised how I'm enjoying these actually. That has surprised me because at the moment it's very much alcohol markers with me, other than digital colouring, and it's really nice to use these. I like the muted colours because alcohol markers can be very bright colours. You don't get that many in the sets that are quite muted and quite soft. And oops, me not cracking bones, just sharpening charcoal. So it's quite nice to work with these lovely muted colours as well. Don't get me wrong, I like bright colours, but I do tend towards these far more nowadays, to say. And this white will stand out against the, just using my finger to smudge the white in, against the creamy background a little bit. It looks a lot brighter then, even, you know, next to this. So I'm going to love you and leave you here without a complete image, because I haven't had a bath yet today, so I need to go and do that. And I've got something to find and do before a meeting around 6 o'clock. So all of this, you know, I'll edit the video and so on and get that uploading while I'm getting everything else organised. And I suppose I'm going to have to cook and feed myself at some point. I'm not starving. Don't think I'm starving. Far from it. I have had lunch. What did I have today? I had apple, banana and some cheese. So I don't starve myself. Oh, and I had some cheesy flavoured, sort of like baked snack things with it as well, which I will regret because they will upset my stomach no end, but they were very delicious. So sometimes you just have to go with what is lovely rather than anything else. So, and today that's just what I needed. I really enjoyed it. Quick and easy, and yet I often don't bother with quick and easy. Or that quick and easy. It really was lovely. I really did enjoy. So there we are. So I hope you've enjoyed this. And I don't know if my ramblings about this make sense. This sketchbook, I don't think I'll be using any wet media on it because, oh, me closing. See, I shouldn't be clearing up while I'm still talking to you. It's just what I do. Old teacher, you know, you multitask, you clear up as you're talking to the kids, so there's not a lot of mess left at the end of the lesson before the next class comes in. You get all in a dither and a flap. Right, so mainly it was to come and try this sketchbook out and to see, you know, to let you know what I think of it. Bought out of my own pocket. I'm not promoting it in any kind of way because there are so many different brands and types of sketchbooks. But I was looking for one that basically would, you know, all these pages, it will last me a long time, and I think it'll be nice to do sort of tangle explorations and things in, and other things like this as well. For dry media, it's going to be fab. I'm sure you could get away with wet media as long as it's with a just barely damp brush. So no big washes, but, you know, careful application of colour. Or, you know, using a damp brush with something like Inktense or watercolour pencils might work. I'll try that another time. I haven't tried it with distress inks yet, but no doubt next time I'll have a bit here because I will try it to see if it's worth working with. But I just hope you've enjoyed it and you've enjoyed my randomness in drawing. How I started here. It still looks interesting that way. It looks like the front end of a spaceship. There is no hope for me. And what about upside down? Oh look, it's something growing from the ceiling. You know, or the bottom of a planet. The rest of the planet is over there somewhere. And this way, still looks like a spaceship. So a different one. There's no hope for me, is there? Randomness. It's not meant to be like that, but my brain is saying that's what it looks like. So whatever you do, please look after yourselves. Please take care. And I'll see you again soon. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Bye.